Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to take a look at the Spyderco Cat G10, and if you've been watching my videos for a while, you may know that I previously reviewed this Spyderco cat. This is the original cat, so this features the carbon fiber handles and the S30V blade, and as Spyderco very often does, they came out with this one for a little while, and then they discontinued it, and now more recently they've come out with an updated version. So this one features a 440C on steel on the blade and a G10 handle, so a little bit different, just adding to the family. And honestly, it's a pretty nice little knife. Now, while this one really was kind of a gentleman's folder, something that you could either collect or carry, this one I really, with a little bit lower price point, I really envision it more as kind of a little everyday carry knife. And it's nice and lightweight. It's I believe around 2.2 ounces, maybe 2.3, so very lightweight. And it's just very easy to carry in your pocket, very convenient. Now, as we take a look at the blade, it features that kind of leaf shape, blade shape that Spyderco is really known for, and I really like it. It's full flat ground, it slices really nicely. It's got a nice relief edge on there. It's very easy to sharpen. It came very sharp out of the box, and overall, it's just a really nice little blade. Now, your steel on here, this 440C, is kind of an old standby in the knife community. It's something that's been used for a lot of years, and it's really what I would term just kind of a decent mid-grade steel. It'll hold the edge well. It's pretty easy to resharpen. And I guess one other way to look at it is that 154cm is actually an upgraded version of 440C. So it's going to be not quite as good as 154cm. And one downside you'll notice is it can rust on you a little bit. If you notice on the blade there are a few little rust spots, and that's where this blade was just kind of neglected, just put away, kind of moist, and it started to rust a little bit. So you could definitely clean that up, but it's a decent steel. It's very serviceable, but it's by no means a high-end steel. You know, previously on this one they were using that S30V, which is a really nice steel. And I kind of wish that they had used a little bit better steel than the 440C, but you know, it works. There's no major issues with it. Now, as we look at your opening mechanism, it's just a standard spider hole. So you notice it's a 13mm spider hole. I really like that. Very easy to open. It's ambidextrous. Open it with your left hand too. And so it's pretty nice. I have no issues with the spider hole at all. I love it. And as we just look at the handle a little bit more, it's very ergonomic. It's got a nice shape to it that really just fits your hand. It's got a nice little finger choil right there, and a little bit of a thumb ramp. So it really is very ergonomic. It really feels nice in the hand. Your edges on here aren't super radiused or anything. They're kind of a sharp edge. But overall, it is very ergonomic. It really feels good in the hand, and it's also something that you can take apart and service fairly easily. As we look, it is mini torque spit construction. You can take this all apart and get into there. And you also notice when you're looking at these steel liners that they are skeletonized actually. So that's part of what helps keep your weight down. And I really like that Spyderco did that. I love it when they skeletonize liners. It's just kind of silly not to. And as we're looking at those liners, you will notice it is a liner lock, which I like. It's a very easy lock to learn, to get used to. I really like liner locks. It's easy to actuate one-handed. And in such a small little knife, I'm not really worried about strength too much. I know some people don't trust liner locks. I think they're perfectly good for this type of small little knife. As we look at the G10 on these handles a little bit more, you will notice that it's kind of a lower grade G10, and this is a Taiwanese produced knife, and it's just not that great of a G10. It's similar to what you'd find on things like the Spyderco Tenacious, maybe in some of the Bird line. It's just a lower end G10. It's not all that high traction really. It is nice looking, but it just doesn't provide a ton of traction. So that's a little bit of a downside, but again, it's nothing major. One thing that you will notice that's kind of bothersome to me is that when we look at the original Spyderco cat, this lanyard hole was just wide open. I really like that. Now, when we go to this one, they did insert kind of a lanyard pipe in there. And it's really kind of unnecessary. I don't really know why they put that in there. First off, it makes it so you can't get as large of cordage through there. And secondly, it rattles. I don't know if you can hear that on camera. Probably not. But it rattles. And that's kind of annoying. I mean, just riding in your pocket and things, that's kind of annoying. Now, I would, if I was going to carry this more, probably just put a little bit of a drop of super glue on there or something, just something to hold it in place, and that would pretty much take care of it. I don't really use lanyards all that often anyway, so again, it's kind of a minor complaint, but I do wish they'd kind of fix that. I suppose you could also just take the knife apart and just take the lanyard pipe out altogether, and that would solve the problem as well. Now, as we look at the pocket clip, that is one of the major highlights of this knife. The pocket clips on these are great. It's that kind of almost paper clip looking loop wire pocket clip. I really like it. It rides very deep in the pocket, really conceals the knife very well. And in kind of a gentleman's folder or a more formal type knife, I really like that. I don't want a big knife sticking out of my pocket. And this clip looks very unassuming. You really don't know what that is. And it just looks like a paper clip almost. So I love these clips. Now, it is tip-up carry, which I prefer, so I'm really happy about that. And you can actually position it on both sides of the knife. So if you're a lefty, you could carry this knife. The only part of this knife that's really not all that left-hand friendly is the liner lock, but if you can get used to that, it will be a nice left-handed knife. Alright, so as we look at the pricing on this knife, the original one with the S30V and the carbon fiber was going right around $55, which I thought was a really great deal. This more recent one is going right around $40, which with the downgraded materials, I wouldn't call it a great deal, but I do think it's a fair price for the blade. So, I think if you're a big fan of the style, or if you have the original cat and you just want to complete your collection, I do think it's probably worth the $40. So let's just give you a quick size comparison and throw out a few competitive options to it. One really, pretty nice knife would be the Buck Vantage, and this is the smaller version. This knife has a pretty comparable steel. This is a 420HC with the Buck heat treat, so that's a pretty decent steel. It's also a liner lock, and you'll notice that it has a very, very nice deep carry pocket clip. So that's a good option. These are going to go more around $20, so much more affordable for the Buck Vantage, and it really provides a lot of the same features. So this is a really, really high value, really nice option. Another interesting competitor to it would be something like the Kershaw Cryo. This is assisted opening. It's not as much of a gentleman's folder, but it does feature a frame lock, so it's going to be a little bit stronger. It's pretty much a comparable steel. This is 8CR13MOV with a good coating on it, so I think this is a pretty comparable blade steel. And it's also got a very nice deep ride pocket clip. So I'll just give you a size comparison to some other ones. They're not necessarily competitive options, but they may be things you own that you could compare to. So this is a Spyderco Delica. So it's a little bit smaller than a Delica. It is a nice small little carry knife. Thickness wise, very similar to a Delica. Here we have a Kershaw Leak. Nice knife. A little bit bigger. And Kershaw Skyline. And then this one will dwarf it. This is the Spyderco Tenacious. So there you go. Overall, I do like the blade. If you have any questions at all about it, feel free to leave that down in the comments below. I'd be happy to help you guys out with this stuff. If you like what you saw in the video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the little thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. I got more videos on the way. Everyone have a nice day, and thanks for watching.